All right, so let's get digging into ATM4. Right now for this video, I'm going to show you the absolute basics, okay? Just going to show you what the setup is, what it looks like, and just the very basic things without much detail, just so we can get an understanding of what we're doing here, okay? So first of all, when you're on this computer, don't update. Okay, sometimes a Windows computer will say update. Don't do it because it's made specifically. The developers at Spitz and the computers are simpatico right now. We don't want to mess that up. So here's what you got to do. First thing, of course, is click Launch Preview Suite. Okay, you absolutely want to do the whole suite. If this pops up, just click yes. Okay, you want the whole thing because you need Starry Night pre-flight. And you need the render box because the render box is what it's going to look like on the dome, right? Okay, so once it opens, okay, probably your previous show will be in there. So let's just start a new show. Okay, file, new, okay. And we're just gonna call it, let's call this one Italy, all right? So I'm gonna hit okay, and up pops a new show. Now, remember, ATM4 is a way of basically telling the computer when to do one thing, when to do another thing. It's a track. It's kind of like in GarageBand or something like that. It's also like an automatic PowerPoint sort of thing, okay? So each one of these things is called a track, okay? Now, the one that you are going to have the most tracks of is Starry Night, okay? You're gonna have many Starry Night tracks. In fact, if you go to File, Add Track, you can see all the different kinds that you can use. I wouldn't really worry about any of them at this point, except to know that sometimes you have to add a new Starry Night track, and let's say we do that, Starry Night 2, sure, we'll call it that. Okay, it's just another system, another line, another track to put commands for Starry Night on. And that'll actually make sense as we go along, but you'll see. Basically, Control, Starry Night, those are the ones you really care about right now. That's it, okay? The rest of them we'll get to later, but basically it's just Control and Starry Night, okay? Two things to keep track of. Okay. And if you ever need to add one, you don't need to add any control ones, but remember it's File, Add Track, Starry Night. If you double click in there where you want to put a cue, the cues will pop up. And so what you do here is there's basically only two that we really need to worry about, and that is pause and tag, right? So pause brings this thing up. That's a little weird. Let's say we're going to start the show. So I'm just going to hit start, okay? What that does is it puts in the timeline a place for it to pause, and then when you get there, it will stop, and then a little thing will pop up. In fact, let me show you this. You should also go to View and make sure you have your playback controls, also known as F4. That should be in there. So if we start right at the beginning of the show, I'm just clicking up here and moving all the way to the beginning, or you can click this to the start of the show. If I hit play, it's going to play through, and then it stops, and I see a start little notification pop up there. Okay. Then if I hit the space bar, or if I click on the pause, it'll keep going through the rest of the show. Okay. This is typically used in live shows where you're talking and you need to sort of stop and load something up and talk about it, that sort of thing. I don't know, maybe the next pause will be tell the flight story, okay? So that way when it reaches here, I know, oh, I have to tell the flight story, and then I will resume and then something else will happen, okay? There are ways, like let's say I'm doing stuff, that's it for pause. Simple enough. You can always change it by double clicking and going back into it. But let's say you just need to tag something. This is when you do the tag. It's a comment queue. What will happen is whenever the timeline reaches that, it will pop up with that. So let's say I hit play. Oh, I'm going to start show. Thank you, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let's start the show. something else pops up, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I need to tell you about the flight story. Okay, so I tell them about the flight story. Okay, next up I'm talking about this or that. But I'm still making the show, let's say. And, oh, I need Alsa. Okay. That's all the tag thing does. It basically just puts up a little notification there. I don't really use it that much, except to put in little things here and there. Okay. So I would delete that because I don't really need it. Okay. The last thing here for today is the basic Starry Night queue. Okay. And that is in here, right? So let's say I want to start somewhere. Okay. So I'm going to go into Starry Night and I'm going to set up a new favorite. Okay. So let's say, let's see, it's going to be Italy. So how about I view from, all right, we flew into Rome, Italy. So I'm going to click Rome, Italy. It's space bar so we get there. And I know we landed at about, oh my goodness, I think it was pretty close to midnight, right about there. And let's say I just want to show the night sky like that. There are many, many other options we can do. It looks like I need to take off these labels, the beehive cluster and elephants, but I'm not worried about that. So all I do is I go into my favorites, add the favorite. I'm going to call it Italy 01. That way it kind of stays in order. And now I have a favorite called Italy 01. Ah, there it is. Right there in this folder, which is my user favorites. We can organize those later. But there's Italy 01. Okay. Now I go into, make sure that I refresh my favorites. Then go back to ATM4. Double click in Starry Night. Now, all the Starry Night queues pop up. There are 1, 2, 3, 8 by 3, that's 16, 24 different queues. We're not going to use all them. Okay, we're not going to use even a bunch of them. Just a few. And the most important one right now is scene or favorite file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I click on that and it loads a favorite. What I do is I have to click on the favorite, which is in my favorites. It should be, what do we call it? Italy 1. Oh, there it is. Italy 01. Double click on that. Now it's going to tell me that just hit OK. Don't worry about it. We'll figure that out later. And the transition time, you can change how long it takes to fade. I mean, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever. Just hit OK. And there the scene's going to pop up. Okay. Now, typically, when I start a show, this is another thing you might want to practice on your show right now, is right at the beginning, I click Scene, and I go to Favorite, and I do the black favorite, which I do not have in here. I need to make one. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go into, this is a great exercise for you to do anyway. So here's what I'm going to do. Before I even start, I'm going to add a favorite, and I'm going to call it black. And I'm going to hit OK. Now you notice it's not black yet. Here's what we do. We're going to go into View, or actually let's go into Options here, and I'm going to turn everything off. I'm just going to go through all of these things, even turn the stars off. Let's see, in the guides, whoops. In the guides, I need to turn the alt-azimuth labels off, the celestial guide labels off. Get out of here. All right, labels. I don't think we have any of those on, but that's okay. Okay. Looks like there's still some things up there. Let's see. Oh, deep space. Yeah, let's turn all of those off. Okay. Oh, looks like there's only like one thing left, and that's those directional things. Remember to edit this part out. Well, local horizon compass points. There you go. Now you have a black screen. Now I'm going to do Control S to save it, or just do favorites. And I'm going to replace it because I already saved this as black. Okay. If you didn't save that as black yet, then you do want to do a new favorite. But I always try to make sure that whatever favorite I have that I made previously is protected by saving it anew right when I start. So I'm going to replace the favorite because it's black. Okay? All right. Now I go back to Italy, double click in the very beginning, do scene, favorite, and oh, there it is, black. Don't worry about that. Hit OK. Hit OK. Boom. Now, let's test this to see if this basic idea came through. So I'm going to hit my render box preview. I'm going to go back to the beginning by clicking this here. I'm going to hit play. Let's see. Oh, it's a black screen. That's good. Okay, I'm going to start the show. Okay, this is boring. And oh, I'm going to tell the flight story. Blah, blah, blah. Tell the flight story, and up pops the scene in Italy, which, oh, look at that. We are in Italy right there. Okay. Then you can stop the show. And there you go. Those are the basics. You've got Control, which is comment and pause. And then you've got the Starry Night favorites. Don't forget, make a black favorite so that you can fade everything to black, not only at the beginning, but at multiple times during the show. So go ahead, make that black favorite and make a Starry Night scene that you want to use, and we will go from there. All right. Have a good one.